Yo, what is up guys? We got the monster skill balance modification and improvements. And I've pre-read it a little bit, and I think it's pretty good. I think they did a fair job in some of the nerfs, some of the buffs. They actually went for some nerfs, and like they are pretty known to just buff shit to try to like nerf things in that way. But they actually went for some decent nerfs right now, and I like them. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's legit. It's legit. So let's start off. Giana is nerfed by one cooldown. Um, so one cooldown up, which I think is fair. To be honest, I think it's fair. So yeah, normally it's 6 turns from skill ups. She gets -2, so it's 4. So this becomes 5. With her S2 rotation, she gets a lot of turns anyways. So I think this is fair. Like, I was afraid they were gonna do the nerf that they kind of did at some point as a glitch, which I think was maybe like a pre-balanced nerf that they at some point didn't want to or did want to do. Yeah, skill up, so it's like, it's -2. I think it's 5 turns. At some point they had the kind of nerf where Giana had like the double resistance check. So one resistance check for the stun, one resistance check for the strip, or in the other way around. But I like this way more. I said that at that time as well when they did that. I'm just like, I feel like Giana, she is pretty OP. I wouldn't mind if she gets a nerf. And I think this is a way more fair nerf. It's not a nerf that makes her like really bad or anything. No, not at all. I think this is a really fair nerf. And this comes from a guy that uses Giana forever and for the longest time and always and that kind of shit. So I think it's really fair. Then, Light Mermaid, Molly. -5%, -5%. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's pretty fair. You started seeing her everywhere. It's so annoying. But they also didn't nerf her to shit. They didn't make this like this 20 into 10 or this in like to 15 or something. It's minor nerfs. I like the minor nerfs. So it's just like pushing it a little bit to see if it works. So Vigor, Shred, 5 turns cooldown. I agree. I highly agree. I think Vigor's S3 is up way too much. His S2 is still like on a really low cooldown. He doesn't get any reduction, so it's actually already at 4 turns. So it stays at 4 turns. And now it becomes 5 turns. I think that's really fair. I think that's really... Light Chun-Li decreases the damage that increases according to the difference between your attack speed and enemy attack speed. Not really sure what that means. Decreases the damage that increases according to the difference between... Wait, so... The max increase amount doesn't change, so the max is still there, it's just more difficult to get there. I think it's something like that. That would make sense, I guess. So you're not that easy to do a lot of damage, but the max output is still there. I think that's fine. Final touch, Light Art Master. Yeah, Light Art Master, his third skill is really interesting. That's the one that ignores like all passes and that kind of shit. But it just did really poor damage. The damage was actually really lacking, so... I'm not sure. I think 32% increase is pretty fair. I'm not sure if it's even that much, but I feel like it's pretty fair. Okay, so we have the Water Ass Master. I have this guy. I tried to use him. He's actually really bad. So let's see. Added effect and changed effect. So they added 2 things. When enemies remove beneficial effects, all harmful effects granted on the allies will be removed. Wait, so if they strip you, you cleanse all strips. Ooh, that's a Giana counter right there. If you strip and stun them, he's like, okay, I'm just stripped, but I'm not stunned. Okay, that's balling. That's balling. When the enemies remove beneficial effects, all allies increase attack power with the beneficial effects increase by from 25 to 10. Okay, so this is a nerf, and this is a crazy buff. So I feel it's fair. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm liking this balance patch like a lot. They actually look at units that need some change, and they actually go for like a fair change. It's not like super like, now you're fucking OP Nephthys style, or now you're fucking trash like old Mo Long style, Leica style. It's. I feel like they got a decent middle ground. Like, sure, we gotta feel like where are things actually at the game at some point, but I feel like it's pretty fair. And for example, this is just a nerf. Like, this is really good against Giana, but for example, against the Chiwu, it doesn't do anything because it's just nothing. This versus a Gemini, for example, versus a Gemini, it's really good. What other units do have a strip plus another condition? Changpang, against Changpang, it's a strip, but you cleanse out the armor break and that kind of stuff. So versus some units, it's really good. Versus some strippers, it pretty much does nothing. So then we have the dragons. The S1 never did shit, but they switch it to Ferret doing damage on defense. I have to see the actual multiplier for this to make sense, but I think it's pretty good. Zyros S1, 10% damage per harmful effect granted. That's pretty... I think that's going to be a legit amount of damage. I think Jeremiah is actually going to be used more. I think Jeremiah is going to be a more legit speed lead in RTA with this, because if his S1 does damage from speed, if that's a good amount, like he has speed lead, it pretty fits the speed meta to also reset your stuff. So I feel like Jeremiah might get some more play in RTA, to be honest. Light Dragon, max HP, totally makes sense. And this one is the damage increases by 20% when you land a critical hit. So still like... Yeah, okay, I guess. Armageddon, increased damage by 18%. That's pretty nice. I think Armageddon is already pretty painful skill, so I think yeah, the dragons. So far, I'm liking all of the buffs and nerfs. I don't feel like I would say like I'll do this more or do this less. I actually enjoy it. Yeah, it looks good. So then we have the Light Sea Emperor Pontus. We changed that, increases the immunity effect by 3 turns proportional to the number of harmful effects that are removed. Into, if the ally harmful effects are removed, the duration of immunity will increase. What's the difference? So the invisibility and immunity is always 1, yeah. And if you cleanse something, it becomes +1. Okay, so I guess this is a slightly nerf-ish and this is a big boost. So yeah, 2 turns immunity becomes more solid, I guess. And also 2 turns invincibility. 2 turns invincibility is pretty solid. Wouldn't say this is right away like a super meta unit or anything or super OP, but I think niche picks pretty solid, because his S2 is one of those like semi-CCs like AoE silence, and that's pretty good. So then we go into Fairy Kings, Pisama, Overwhelm of Water. Oh, this is actually an interesting way that they, this is the first time they pick a skill and they split it within the element. So they actually pick a skill and they put it as like, okay, for this element we do this, for this element we do this, for this element we do this. Instead of putting that in the Awaken or anything, they just split up the skills to kind of do the same, but all have their own effect. And I like that idea. I like that idea because that gives like more dynamic to whatever units you want to buff or nerf in the future. So decreases the attack speed by 1 turn with a 70% chance. So I think this goes up to 80 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so all overwhelms, they become 80%. So it's not the most crazy amount, but... Okay, so it still has like the cool turn increase by 1 turn, but it's for this one, it's reducing speed, which is decent. The fire one disturbs recovery. It's not that you really need it or anything. Same for the... I think the slow is better than the HP recovery, but it could be niche like here and there. And then this one for Nyx is really good. I think this is one for Nyx is gonna make Nyx a pretty solid unit. Removes 1 beneficial effect granted on the enemies. It's still just 1 strip. It's not like a full AoE strip. It's also still 80%, so it's not that consistent. But I feel like if it can strip and reduce the or increase the cool time in 1 hit, which I think it will. So first strip, then increase cool time. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid actually. And Nyx is a pretty good unit. Like if you you cannot spam Nyx into everything, but if you use Nyx into a full CC team like bombs, Okeanuses, all of that kind of like check effects to actually land CC, Nyx can be pretty good. So. Then we have the Bisons. The Bisons are doing damage from max HP. Makes sense, they're HP units. They should have done that all along. Same for Rage Explosion. I'm actually not sure which skill was which because I never used the Bison. But because the Bisons were bad, so they're getting buffs and I feel like it's necessary to get this buff. It's actually funny because they have the Bison and the Slayer. I think they could have just said like M Bison Water / Slayer because it's literally the same unit. They just have different names in their skills, but it's literally the same unit, so I think they could have put that in one line to not make it more confusing. Destroy by 50% of the damage dealt. It could be niche, Guild War offense, I think. I fought this in TOA Hell, and then I was like, oh, this is actually a lot of destroy, but in normal fights, I don't think it would matter all too much. In Siege offense, I think Siege offense, Guild War offense, this destroying is pretty nice. So Psycho Crusher, reduce 1 turn by the cooltime, cool. Decreases attack power to... Decreases defense. Wait, which skill is that? Okay, so that's the S2 of the Bisons, apparently. Not sure. Well, defense break is always better, but 1 turn defense break often... It's same as what some other units have. 1 turn defense break is often not that great, but in general, I guess it's a lot better. And you also got the 3 turns. So do you actually reduce? Yeah, so you get it down to 2 turns. So Psycho Crusher, you have that skill up a lot because it's gonna be 2 turns cooldown. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. So yeah, I guess it could work. And then we have the Wind Bison. Setbacks all enemy skill targets to max cooldown. Wait. Will be applied after removing... Wait, that's pretty OP. That's like a Zyros. But first the strip. Wait, it's on the wind one? That's pretty OP. It's even on a full-time cooldown. So, attacks the enemy, remove all beneficial effects. Afterwards, attack all enemies with a powerful downfall to decrease their attack bar to 0. So you decrease their attack bar. Wait, this is like an A-weak enemy. This is legit like A-weak enemy at S3. Which also strips on the initial hit. What? That's OP, man. If it works like I could be mistaken. I don't know, but that sounds OP. That sounds hella OP. What the hell? Okay, I think Mr. Wind Bison might have something there. And then he also has the Psycho Crusher, which S2, which does a lot more damage, and then the S1. That thing is... I wouldn't be surprised if we were gonna see Wind Slayers and Wind and Bisons like around, because that... They feel... I don't know, that's nice. Ryu, and they get the S2. Does more damage, that's like the AoE strip. I think it's fair, it didn't do too much damage, but... Okay, I think that like the water Ryu is actually better than I expected, but yeah, I guess it's fair. We got some damage increase in like all skills, okay? We got the Wind Ryu, that was like the worst version of Daphnis, which is currently getting kind of the segment treatment. So the moment, well, actually the damage increases. Total damage is 19%. It's not that much. It's a decent amount. It's still not that much, but every time your full combo doesn't work, you get the cooldown off. So that's pretty nice. That's actually pretty nice, especially on the Vio set. So let's check what he actually does for full combo. So yeah, the full combo is attacks the enemy to remove all beneficial effects. So let's say that happens. If the enemy has no beneficial attacks after the attack, they attack again with defense break, yes. So let's say you strip but you don't land defense break, you go off cooldown. But preferably you still want to hit the full combo. So preferably you still want to hit the full combo. It's same as segment S3. Like, cool that you get your cooldowns reset if it doesn't work, but still you kind of wanted that reset at that moment. So I don't feel this one that much. I feel like the Wind Slayer a lot more, to be honest. And then this is the same, okay. The Teor gets a 100% attack bar reduce. It's pretty OP, I guess. That's pretty nice. Yeah, then this is super interesting because I think this is already implemented. I had this happen to me yesterday during my rush. So normally this unit will only be revived if Vanessa is alive. And yesterday Vanessa actually died and another unit was revived during the death of Vanessa. And I think this is this. So this is instantly activated. Normally it was activated like after like the death calculation of like everything. But now it's instantly activated. Which means that Vanessa can revive units when she dies. I think that's pretty much what this means, and I got it on the video as well, and I was like super confused, and chat was also like trying to find some weird ways, but I think this was already implemented in some way. Because that's the only explanation, that this was actually already implemented, which this, if I understand it correctly, this pretty much just means that, let's say you amputation magic and you also kill Vanessa, then it means that Vanessa still revives a unit. Okay, we got Archangel for a buff. Yeah, everyone was saying like, okay, Lulu's so OP right now. You need like a buff on the Archangel, which he got. Recovery amount is increased. Wow, that's OP. Oh, that's like the 3 turns recovery thing. So that is changed to remove all harmful effects granted and grants HP recovery for 3 turns by the number of harmful effects removed. What? Wait, what? Wait, so if you remove like 5 dots, do you get 5 times the HP recovery effect? What? That's OP. That's... Okay, Ariel, you just got the medal of most crazy healer in the game back again. It's like, sir, we took away your shit, but here you have it. That sounds legit. That sounds pretty legit. Okay, now we have Ariel that waits Eladriel, and he grants Soul Protect on yourself. Can we have a clap for pretty much every reviver getting the kit of Nigang? Wait, where's Nigang? Where the fuck is... What? Man, first like, Nigang, you're really cool. You're the only AoE reviver. It's like, oh, okay. We introduce Amarna. It's like, what can he do? AoE revive while cleansing. I'm like, what? What? It's like, okay, Eladriel, we need a buff for Eladriel. How about... He revives AoE. It's like, but Nigang was the only one that... No, whatever. Okay. Kraka. Another bad reviver. What should we do with it? How about we revive AoE? Yep, Nigang. No, fuck that dude. And I was like, okay, but Nigang at least still has like Soul Protect. Well, it's only on yourself, it's not on the whole team, but still, you're kind of literally like with every buff to revivers, you're just giving more and more of Nigang's kit. That's how I feel like. Next thing you know, this is gonna be like a 50% HP lead for everything. No, they're never gonna change that, but okay, whatever. Okay, Chun-Li. Little bit more damage. Yeah, this was a really... I felt like that skill felt really strong, like on paper, but the multipliers were just terrible. So, the decreased attack bar, I don't feel this doing anything at all, pretty much. Not really. Maybe for the dark one, because the dark one is actually used in RTA sometimes, here and there. It's a decent stripper. But I was planning to use like the water one for dragons or giants or anything, but the damage was just really low. And I think even the 13% damage increase won't change it too much. So then the dellsim, I have no clue about a dellsim. I've never used one, I've never seen one. I played against one dark poison master, I had no clue what he was doing. And then I killed it, and at the end of the at the end of the RTA match, I still had no clue what it was doing. You know why? Because it did absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna read these skills, but I have no clue what they're doing, to be honest. So I gotta check them. Okay, so it's this passive, yes. Oh, well, makes sense. It's recover your HP by 20% if you get a turn without being attacked for the whole turn. Increases your damage for okay. So you increase 100% of your damage, okay? Okay. So recovers 20% if you get attacked without. If you get the turn without getting attacked, you will get another turn instantly after. So wait, so if you don't attack the water dellsim, he's always gonna violent proc, technically. That's technically what it's saying. Okay, but his... Then you could do like S2 armor break into S1. Maybe siege offense, guild war offense, but I don't really feel it. I'm not getting like the sunburst out of joy of like, oh, this is super good. But you might as well just proc. I don't know. Doesn't feel too good, to be honest. It could work niche here and there because he's like if you have a team that's, for example, full fire, you're fighting a full fire team, you throw in this one, it's always gonna recover the 20% and it's not gonna be hit as much, so you always get like the additional turn. But it's kind of like a counter-conflicting passive, because your recovery comes from being hit, and then your other passive, your proc passive, comes from not being hit. So I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So increase the damage on the enemy with inflict. Yeah, I think this was a really weak hit in general. So I think adding 50% damage, it's still not gonna do too much, but it's only with units on inability effect. So it's actually only if a unit is properly stunned. So that's not too great. So Yoga Fire actually reduces the, or removes beneficial effect with a higher chance. Is this actually upped with? No, wait, that was this skill. Haha, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong skill, so Spitzer phase. So actually, okay, so it does quite some more damage, because it was 140 times 3, so it's gonna be 210 times 3. Well, that's decent, I guess. So this one, do you actually... Okay, this becomes 100% strip. S2 Yoga Fire becomes 100% strip, which is not that bad, I would say. Because 75% strips, no one's like that shit. So what actually does it with? And inflicts 2 turns continuous damage with a 50% chance. So I guess this whole thing becomes a 100% thing. So Yoga Fire is actually pretty decent strip then. It's only the removed beneficial effect, so the dots might still be on 75%, but that's... Chloe, Fanatic goes to immunity for 3 turns. That's... Okay, that's good for siege offense, I guess. It's not really something it would need, right? And then we have something I blew my mind over. I legit blew my mind. Wind Brownie, unexpected exposure. Well, yeah, that was unexpected for me to this thing getting a buff. Gain an instantly turn when you successfully remove beneficial effects. You have any clue what this unit does on his other skill? You have any clue? Because people don't use this shit. I don't... It's called xxKilla, I think. Like, I barely even know what this unit does, but damn, I was surprised about that. Because not of his S3 being so OP, but he has fever time. So if you strip on S3, you get another turn and you can do fever time, which boosts the attack buff. Which is pretty dope, actually. That's really legit. Like, people were asking me, it's like, oh, I don't have X stripper, what do I use? Oh, I don't have this stripper, what do I use? And it's even better. If they don't have any debuffs, like let's say you go in arena offense, they don't have any will runes, you can just start with fever time. Doesn't matter. But this is pretty legit, because there's very few combinations of getting both attack buff and crit rate buff from a unit that strips in the same turn. So if your strip gets resisted, sure, but I think this is gonna be the most legit free-to-play stripper arena offense unit. And it might have some play here and there in RTA cleaves. But arena offense, most legit free-to-play. Well, free-to-play is not like really easier obtainable stripper in the game. And I think people are gonna be using this, totally. Bombing teams, like bombing is pretty like popular in EU meta right now. Well, actually, with the Molly and Vigor nerf, a lot of arena defenses are heavily nerfed, because I think we've seen Vigor Molly in maybe like 70% plus of the arena defenses on Europe. But xxKilla is also a pretty nice counter on that, because you can just S3 into S2 and then you can start throwing bombs. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, if you're fast enough, like you still kind of need your speed booster in there, and that's kind of what Bastet does and that kind of jazz. But let's say you have really fast bombers, you don't need a stripper and you don't need an attack bar buffer. It's one unit. So you could actually go like Sierra, double bomber this unit. If your bombers are fast enough to outspeed them, you could go double bomber and you have your stripper plus attack bar attack buff, which is pretty interesting. Okay, then we have the Nine-Tailed Fox, another unit no one uses. Steals more beneficial effects. It's actually funny, because this comes from the other game, like the Lost Centuria game, because the Soha, the water Nine-Tailed Fox, was actually with this skill stealing buffs. instead of like creating a shield. She was stealing like the buffs and throwing it on the whole team. But in this case, it's just steal one beneficial buff granted on the enemy target. Nah, I don't feel it. It's not that great. Light one, reincarnate, grants an additional turn after. This is one of those skills that could be really stacking. So maybe like siege offense, guild war offense, kind of jazz. But again, don't really feel it. Then we have Ntrap, which decreases the attack power, decreases it to 0. That stun the enemies after stun the enemy for less than. Okay, yeah. A semi CC, like it's getting like a free to play CC option ish thing, which is decent, I guess. Ooh, this is something we're not gonna like in TOA Hell. This is something we're not gonna like in TOA Hell, TOA Hard, that kind of jazz. Increased by 54% damage, while his passive shot, it didn't do too much damage, but it was annoying enough that if you hit it quite often, this unit is used, for example, in the monkey. So you have wind monkey, double fire warbear, and then double elven rancher dark. And you have like, it's pretty much like 5 counters and that kind of jazz. That's pretty much the idea behind it. But if you're not stunning them, you're gonna die to this. This actually feels pretty painful. This is gonna be annoying in TOA. Let's call it that. Bearman, water, fire, light, strike. I think strike is the first skill. Decreases the attack power for 2 turns. I'm not feeling it. Could be the second skill as well, but I'm still not feeling it. That's nothing. Okay, now we have a really interesting one. The fire Anubis increases the attack speed for 19%. I am not sure, however, if it changes from guild content to all content, because I think it becomes all content 19%. That's an interesting one. So technically they're pretty much nerfing the siege meta of, because Vigor, Khmun was everything. Vigor, Khmun, X. Any defense, anyone asking me any defense, Vigor, Khmun, X. Vigor, Khmun, X. Vigor, Khmun, X. You had to have 16 Vigors and 16 Khmuns and you would do crazy good. But yeah, I like it. It's a minor nerf. It's one of those, like, same for Vigor. It's a minor nerf. Same for Molly. It's a minor nerf. Same for Giana. It's a minor nerf. You're not nerfing the units to shit, but you're making it like less dominant, and that's what I like to see. I really like this balance patch. I think this balance patch, like, I think this is one of the most legit balance patches. It's not gonna like insane, like people might complain like, oh, we're not really changing the meta. It's like, maybe not, but I feel like we're addressing, like, these are the kind of balance patches you want to see more often. Yes, I do agree with that. But this is the kind of balance patches I want to see. I want to see small tweaks, few units a little bit buffed. I think like the Wind Bison might be pretty strong. I feel like the Arm Masters, like everything, it just feels right. I feel like most of these things, I feel it's good. I feel like this should have a buff for Nigong though, but that's me having a Nigong, but I feel this is pretty legit. Like, sure, you could be like, oh, there's no new LD Net 5 that became super OP, it's boring, oh, the meta is still the same. Sure, but I think we already had a really big meta shift, because the biggest meta shift we had was actually Artifact. Because, simple question, where's Hathor? Where's Hathor? She was the most picked RTA unit. Where's Hathor? Right? So we actually do have balance changes. It just didn't come from a balance patch. It came from Artifacts. So that's what people kind of forget at some time. So yeah, we also have defense increase of the ally 25. This one, no one cares. Sorry, mate, no one cares. Then we have some errors that were changed. Okay, fix the error that Windroot's provoking after getting another turn. Really weird one. Like, this is one of those scenarios, like, oh, really? Did it work like that? Ryu on Maelstrom. Okay, interesting. Actually, the Water Ryu has a weird interaction with the counters as well, because he doesn't get attack bar from counters. I'm not sure if this passive actually says, like, only on his turn. Could be. But on counters, he doesn't get attack bar when he's hit. And the damage is also not mitigated, if I'm not mistaken. Because I used the Wind Monkey against Water Ryus. Okay, yeah, totally that they had a resistance error in those units. Okay, this makes more sense maybe. Fix an error that life drains the amount not applied properly when this skill's used while having vampire rules. What the I want to give credits to the guy that threw this on vampire because why the fuck would you? It's an instant nuke. Like after this thing nuked, like the planet should be dead. Like it's a nuke. Everything should be dead. It's like I want to vampire after everything is dead. That's like an uncle of mine. Okay, we go small story time because this was the most stupid story ever. This feels to me like that story. This feels to me is like okay, so I built a bunker against nukes. So when the whole planet gets nuked to shit, I'm gonna go in that bunker. I'm gonna stay there like 20, 25 years. And afterwards, I'm gonna sell washing machines. Like, why washing machines? No, that's my plan. That's my future plan. That's what I'm gonna do. Afterwards, I'm gonna sell washing machines. The whole planet just got nuked. There's nothing there. Like, yeah, but I'm gonna sell washing machines. That's kind of what it feels like. So yes, please don't throw this unit on freaking vampire. It's useless. Rage. Kill the shit. Nuke the thing. And then we have fix an error where the probability removing beneficial. Okay, so the strips are like improved for this skill. Well, it was actually already 75%, so so yeah, this is a more consistent strip right now. And that is it. So put in the comments if you agree or disagree with me on liking this balance patch. Tell me which one you feel like is most interesting. Tell me also if you feel like things are missing. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, this is missing, this is missing. Okeano's still OP, Genny's still OP, Sierra's still OP, blah, blah, all that kind of jazz. Yes, but I actually feel like they're addressing fair points. They're not over-nerfing units. They're not over-buffing units. Well, maybe this one. Maybe this one. I feel like this is pretty... I think this one is pretty legit. I'm not sure. Because he gets a buff on all three skills. That's tricky. When you buff a unit, but you buff all three skills, then it's like, ooh, are you sure about that, Arnie? Are you sure about that? But yeah, this was a very in-depth look at my opinion on the monster skill balance. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's see what you guys think, and let's see how this actually works out, because I feel it's pretty legit. So, thanks for watching, guys. Seiishizo here. See you in the next one.